Hello everyone, welcome to Average Joe Preparedness. My name's Rick and I'm an average Joe. Hey everybody, after reviewing this video, financial preparedness, I saw that it ran a little long. So I'm gonna go ahead and change it into 2 videos. So that way it's easier to watch, a little bit, you can absorb the information a little easier. So yeah, this is actually gonna be part 1 of a 2-part video, one of the bedrock videos that I'm making that everything else is gonna be built on for financial preparedness. Today we'll be going over financial preparedness. Now the first videos that I'm doing are all to set the groundwork so that you can build on them. Everything else has to come after this. Getting your mind straight, getting your finances in order, and changing the way you think. Everything else after that will be made easier. As a matter of fact, those things probably can't even be done correctly. They can't be done rightly until you get these other things out of the way. And when I do the other videos, I'm gonna be referring back to these so you can either come back to them if you hadn't seen them before, or at least you'll know what I'm talking about if you have seen them. So in this video, we are not going to be arguing right or wrong, good or bad, if this is the way it should be, or that's not the point of the video. As a matter of fact, should, would, and could versus is and are is the subject of my next scheduled video. Now, I don't know if another video is going to come out before that, but that's what we're going to be discussing in depth. And again, it's a way that you can think. But anyways, for now, let's get into financial preparedness. Some of you may ask, why do I need to be financially prepared? Well, it seems pretty evident. If you are not financially prepared, you are going to be reactive instead of proactive. If you don't have your financial house in order, it's just going to crumble. There's really not much you can do if you're living paycheck to paycheck. Now, Forbes just put out some numbers, and according to them, 78% of all people in the United States live paycheck to paycheck. 78%. That's approximately 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 of everyone in the United States, and we're looking at what? 300 million people? 80% of 300 million people are living paycheck to paycheck. That is a disaster waiting to happen. That's not being prepared. First, let's define simplistically what money actually is. Money is no more or no less than a median for exchanging labor or a product of some sort, or knowledge or a skill. It's just a median. It is something to exchange for something else. Let me explain. You provide a service when you have a job, whatever that is, or you provide labor, or you provide knowledge, or you provide a skill, and in exchange, you are given money. Then you can take that money and exchange it for someone else's skill or knowledge or a product. Now, if I'm a photographer, which I'm not, I get that. If you don't need to exchange with me for my photography skills, but I need to exchange with you for the tires that you're selling, then I go and exchange my time, my energy, my skills with someone else who does need my skills as a photographer. They give me a median of exchange, which is money, and then I come to you and I give you that median of exchange, which is money, and you give me the tires. Very simplistic, I get it, but you have to wrap your brain around what it is for the next step. Some people might not want to hear this. However, whatever it is you do, whatever your job is, understand what it boils down to is you are a commodity. Again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, good or bad. That's not the point of this. The point is to keep things straight. You are a commodity, whether it's your labor, your knowledge, what you have, your education, it doesn't matter. what it is, it's what you're getting paid for. And what you're getting paid for, you are a commodity. And that's important to know. If you are unhappy with the exchange you're getting, i.e. the money that you're being paid, you have to take a look at yourself, because you are that commodity. If you are not getting paid enough, either you do not have the value to that company or person, no offense intended, or you need to look somewhere else to somebody else who values you more. Does that make sense? If you are not getting paid enough in exchange for you being a commodity, you either have to make yourself more valuable, or you need to go find someone who finds more value in you. If you go out on the internet and you type in 7 steps to financial, it should finish off with like independence or financial stability, or just go ahead and type it in and you'll find it. Now, I've looked at these before, 7 steps to financial, say, independence. We'll just pick a word here. And basically, if you go through them, the steps are pretty much the same. And they work, but we'll get to that in a second. Now, my eldest son, company he works for, the CEOs, upper management, they actually brought in a financial advisor to have a discussion with the employees on how to set them up for success. Him and me had a conversation about it, and basically, with small variants, it's still the 7 steps. So this isn't something new. People actually charge, for you to go to their speeches and their symposiums, and they'll try to teach you this. But again, it's out there on the internet. The 7 steps that should be taken to get you on the road to being financially prepared. Now, don't worry. After we go through these 7 steps, we're going to touch base on how you can more easily reach them and or accomplish them. Sometimes they're just given the 7 steps. That's it. Oh, here are the 7 steps. Go ahead. But there's no filler. There's nothing in there. I'm going to give you some ideas, some tried and true ideas, some of my personal experience, and some things other people have done. However, know this. It is going to be tough choices made by each of you on how quickly you want to accomplish being financially prepared. Step number 1. The first thing you need to do is get $1,000. Build it up as quickly as possible. Now there's discussion. Everyone agrees on the step, but there's a discussion. Some people say, well, you put it in the bank. Some people say you have that cash on hand, but you have it where it's not readily available. They called it like pizza money, if I'm not mistaken. You don't just go and grab it because the pizza person comes. So it has to be on hand in your house, wherever. And now that's up to you. If you don't feel comfortable keeping $1,000 cash in your house, then you put it in your bank, hopefully somewhere close. The reason being is last year, I guess it was, I don't know if anyone remembers, if you belong to a certain financial institution who I don't want to name, and they had a fire in like a janitor's closet, and basically their whole internet was shut down for 3 days. They were limiting access to your cash in the bank. So to each person, that decision's going to be to them, whether you keep the $1,000 cash on hand or you keep $1,000 cash in the bank. The point being is build up $1,000 cash, either way you want to look at it, as quickly as possible. This does 2 things. 1, most emergencies that are going to happen will be within the realm of, say, $1,000, give or take. Or if they're more than that, at least that $1,000 gives you a quick a boost up. So you have that $1,000. If the washing machine goes out, maybe you're not going to be able to get that washing machine you want, but you'll be able to get another washing machine or get that washing machine fixed, or you can fix it yourself, which we'll get into later. But the point being is $1,000, get it and get it quickly. The second reason for it is it takes down a mental roadblock, which will come later on, about saving money, because technically you already have. You've already started. You've already taken a step. The second step is pay off all your debt. Well, with an exception. The biggest one is the mortgage on your house. The next one down would be your car. We'll get to that in a little bit. But basically, it's all your loans, your lines of credit, your credit card bills. You pay them off. We're not talking about monthlies like cable, electricity, water. Again, we'll talk about those later. We are talking about debt that you're incurring interest on. And you do it with the snowball effect. Again, you can Google it. It's out there and it's easy. And I've done it. Now I have personally done this. And you're gonna probably find out way too much more about me than you need to somewhere in all these videos, but it doesn't matter. I've personally done this. I can tell you it works. I can tell you the mentality behind it works. You can trust me or you're gonna have to do it yourself. That's up to you. But what you do is the snowball effect. You write out all your bills and you take the lowest one and you pay it off first. So you do minimum payments, whatever the minimum payments are on all your bills, except the lowest one. The lowest bill, whatever it happens to be right now, your payment, let's say it's 20 bucks a month. This month, I don't know if you noticed, but once you pay it off, that goes down. Well, there's a reason for that. Some people may say about extending it out and then making more money on interest and keeping you in debt, and that's we're not going to talk about that. What we're going to talk about is that $20 will go down each month. It'll go to like 18, and they'll say you got to do 16, and over time. No, 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 no. What you do is, it doesn't matter. The minimum you're going to pay on that bill each and every month is $20. I don't care if it goes down to $2. You keep paying 20 bucks until it's paid off. Then the next thing you do is, when you're living paycheck to paycheck anyways, most people are. When your next paycheck comes, whatever you have left in the bank also goes towards that bill. And I personally had like $2.50, or it wasn't even that, it was like $2.48 in the bank before my next check came. And I paid $22.48 on that bill. I got a little book and I wrote out a page, and then I skipped a few pages, another page of all my bills, how much I'm paying, watching the columns get smaller as I paid it off. And every time I paid one off, I made it was like a thing, and I ripped that page out and I tore it up and I threw it away, and then I went out and did something that month. Like went to see a movie or went out to eat or something. Doesn't matter what I did. But it's called the snowball effect. Once you pay off the lowest bill, all your other bills have slowly been coming down, very slowly, because you're making minimum payments. And let's say your next bill, when you started this process, was $30 a month. Now it's down to $29. It doesn't matter. You're still paying $30. All your bills, you're still paying what originally you started at, because you're living paycheck to paycheck anyways. It doesn't matter. And you were paying $30 and you are still paying $30. Now what you do is you take that $20, add it to that $30. You're now making $50 a month payments on your next lowest bill, which is now your lowest bill, and any extra money you have once you hit your next paycheck. And if it's $2.48 or it's $28.40 or whatever it is, you put it on that smallest bill, and so on and so on and so on. Now there's a discussion whether you should do this up and through your car payment. So there's some discussion about that. There really isn't ever a discussion about the house. The mortgage is something different. But there is a discussion on whether you do it up into and continuing on your car. Or you can take it 50-50. Once you pay off all your bills, you don't have to take all that money and put it into your car, but you take half of it, and then you have that other half, put that money towards the next steps in this process. That's to each person. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to give you the tools of things that work for me. But I can tell you this much, my car is paid off. The third step in the series. The third step in the series, and this should be really relevant now with what's been going on in the world, is to have 3 to 6 months of however much money you make in the bank. So if you make, the average is just under, and I know this is an average, I'm not saying it's for everyone, the average in the United States is right around $4,000 a month. So times that by 3 or times that by 6. More likely you want to times it by 6. You need to have that much money in the bank in case of emergencies, in case there's, I don't know, a pandemic, or maybe a financial crisis and mass unemployment. Yes? Yes. 3 to 6 months, and you probably want to aim for the 6 months. You have that much money in the bank. Now, remember step 1, getting that $1,000? Right now you might be thinking, well, that's going to be difficult because that's a lot of money. Yes, it is. However, by the time you get here, you've already started. Remember, you have $1,000 already. That's already a step. And now, something that's blocking you, which are all these bills, you've now paid them off. Now, some people tend to hedge their bets and start putting a little bit of money away instead of paying off their bills. That's argumentative. People have their own decisions to make. But let's just say you did it one step at a time. You now have $1,000 and you have no bills, except for potentially your car and your mortgage. All that money, and you're like, I have all this money. Look, I can make make it rain up in here. No, that money needs to go in the bank. That's where it needs to go. 3 to 6 months of savings. That's how you get prepared. That's how you get prepared for what's going on, like right now. Step number 4. Step number 4 is for 15% of your income to be going into some type of retirement fund, 401, Roth, that's to each his own. And between you and your financial advisor or whatever, 15%. Now, if the company you work for doesn't offer that, you can always go through, there's different companies out there you can go through. Some are insurance companies that don't do the insurance thing. What I'm getting at is there's companies out there that you can invest in for your 401ks. Some companies actually match a little bit. Some match 1, 2, up to 4, 5%. Remember this, the 15% that's going in there, that's before they match it. Okay, the 15% is supposed to be coming from you, not from you and what your company's matching. So if your company matches the first 5%, then you're getting 20% in there eventually. It's only 50% coming out of your paycheck. Now, 2 really good reasons for this, besides the fact that you're going to have money down the road. Number 1, this is pre-tax income. They take this out of it. It has to be like an official IRS recognized 401k or Roth. So it reduces the amount of money, income you make per year that you pay taxes on. And then if you look at when you're filing your taxes, and this could change at any time, but right now it hasn't, there's actually a little block in your W-2 and it says how much. And when you're filling out your taxes, you actually get a credit on top of that for putting money away. So, number 1, it shows you make less money, in which case they charge you less taxes. And then it's also a deduction on your taxes, so you pay less taxes. And then eventually, it's money that you can survive on and feel comfortable with and be prepared for the future. Step number 5. For those of you that have children, or if you want to go all the way to having grandchildren, which is what I'm doing, it is get a college fund for your children. Some states offer where you put an investment in and you can lock in the price now for when they go to college, you can put it away. It's a college savings fund. Some states, it's tax deductible, a lot like a 401k. Does that make sense? Some states it's locked in that you can only use it in that state. You can use it all over. They can use it for whatever they want. It doesn't necessarily have to be college, but then they'll have to pay a fund. You need to look into it for where you live and what your situation is. If you have children, if you have grandkids, and if you want to do this one, it's to set up the next generation for success. Step number 6, pay off your home. Now, if you hadn't paid off your car or your RV or whatever transportation mode we're talking about, now would be the time to do so and then pay off your house. So now, let's just look at where you are. Once you get here, don't get me wrong, it's going to be a long haul. You have no bills, except the monthlies. The monthlies, we'll talk about those later. But you have no interest incurring debt at all. You have 6 months savings in the bank. 6 months worth of savings in the bank. You now have no mortgage payment. And in the future, you have an investment that's going to return to you so you can retire. And if your company has a retirement, you can also retire from there. This is being financially prepared. In step 7, which is a little different, depending on who you talk to, basically it's continue to build wealth, give wealth. And what that is trying to set your children and your grandchildren up for success. By however means, helping them with their houses, helping them with their further education so they can, go beyond what you did. For your grandchildren to set up their accounts or to set up a trust fund or whatever it is, to give more donations to charity if that's what you're doing. The point being is to now thrive, not just survive, which is where you originally probably, what did I say the number was? 78%, 4 out of 5 people were just surviving. Now, the end goal is for you to thrive. Now, a disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor. I do not have a degree. All this stuff can be found on the internet, for one. And number 2, the reason I'm giving it to you is because I know it works. I personally went through most of this. Do I have my house paid off yet? No. Am I working on getting my grandchildren or college funds? Yes. I'm working on these things. But the initial steps I've gone through, the snowballing on paying off bills, it works. It's a slow, grinding, cruel process, some might say. But you have to understand something. See my first video, and that is I was responsible for that debt. I had to own it. I had to accept it. I had to figure out where I was, where I wanted to go. I got the steps. I walked it back, and I took them one step at a time. And that is what I recommend for you.